From the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight. Training camp rolls on. It's a big week out there as the Dallas Cowboys are going to be in town later this week. Can't wait to watch those practices. And, of course, the first preseason game coming up on Saturday. But today, Ben, we're going to talk a little bit about what we saw out there, what practice has been up to this point, and it was highlighted by a tremendous catch at the very end of practice from Courtland Sutton over Ronald Darby, mossed him down the left sideline for a big gain. One of the things that I've loved so far about these practices, there's a lot of different things from this new coaching staff, but ending practices on these upswings of competition has been so cool. Not always wins for the offense. I know Nathaniel Hackett cares a lot about the offense, cares a lot about the defense, but sometimes it is wins for the defense. And so in this case, it was a big win for the offense. Courtland Sutton getting that catch, coming down with it. I mean, he hit the ground hard, came down with the ball, and he's looked tremendous out there, and it's a really cool thing from Coach Hackett and this coaching staff.
Yeah, Ronald Darby was a little shaken up on that play. Look, he got the wind knocked out of him, maybe a little bit with the wrist, but mostly just the wind knocked out of him. I think competition's a good thing. You know, I think that the end of it leaves the other side of the ball hungry. You know, we didn't get the ball done. We didn't get the work done at the end of practice yesterday. We got to go back out there and get it today. So I think that natural competition, I think, is a good thing. Yeah, Darby had good technique on that play with Sutton.
He was right there.
He was a trail technique, only a step off. Then tried to go up there and Courtland Sutton just took the ball out of the air. He just took it. And, I thought it was a good play. I thought it was a good play for both of them, really. I mean, Darby didn't get it done, but it was a good play. Ronald Darby's a good corner.
He is.
Everybody focuses in on Pat Surtain, and they shy away from Darby. Darby didn't get a lot of interceptions, but he's one of the highest pass breakup guys in the NFL. He's a good corner.
And he had a tremendous pass breakup where he jumped on the ball. He probably should have had the interception, but he had a jump on one of the passes early in practice. And, again, I think that those are learning opportunities. And Ronald Darby, by the way, has spent a lot of time with the jugs machine, with the wide receivers, trying to work on that because those opportunities are going to come his way. Teams are going to start going away from Pat Surtain as he continues to grow into what we believe is going to be a number one cornerback in the league. Ronald Darby, Michael Ojemudia, whoever's lined up on that opposite side is going to get a lot of looks.
They are, and you're going to have to make the most of it. K'Wan Williams and Ronald Darby are going to have to prove they can't be picked on as well because teams are going to shy away from Surtain. He's got length. He's got great hands. He's got great speed. Was the second fastest guy in the NFL last year on any one particular play at 22 miles an hour. So, at that point, you're going to try and test the other two out and see if they let up. And while Darby doesn't get a lot of interceptions, those PBUs come in handy. If he can start turning some of those interceptions, that's going to be even more valuable.
One of the things that we've noticed over the course of the last few practices, especially the ones that are not walkthrough mental rep days, is we're seeing the offense and defense get some wins. This is not one side of the ball is dominant over the other. Consistently over the last few years, if the offense got some wins, you knew it was sort of fleeting. It felt fleeting. It felt like, okay, they got that one, but I don't feel really great about it because they didn't really follow it up. It seems like in these practices over the course of the entirety, there's some ebb and flow both ways.
Well, yeah. Previously, it felt like the offense would steal one and then it would go right back to being good.
Good way to frame it, yeah.
Now, if you look at the way these practices have lined up, the defense was winning early, but the offense has won the last 3 or 4. They really have, and they've been good. And so, I think that's a good thing. I think that's showing signs of this maturation that they've been talking about. I think it's starting to come together a little bit right around the right time when it needs to be. Love to see what competition against the Dallas Cowboys brings because you don't know what the defensive tendencies are anymore.
Right.
Now you're getting a competition against a whole new thing, and maybe a defensive coordinator might be motivated in the preseason by a job he didn't get.
We talked, I know exactly that, talking about Dan Quinn. But this is the thing, I love how they're doing the red zone right now, and that's something the Broncos offense needed to be so much better at, is red zone performance. We talked to Allbright on Saturday and talked to Kendall Hinton today and just asking them about what is different this year. And both guys talked about the precision at which Russell Wilson expects them to run their routes and the precision at which they operate. That isn't a word I've associated with the Broncos offense for many, many years.
Yeah, and that is a Peyton Manning-esque trait. But that's a good thing. You want it to be the same every time. If you know exactly where everybody's going to be all the time at the exact depth, and it's a game of inches to the exact inch, then you're going to be able to put the ball in the exact spot that you need to put it. And I think great quarterbacks demand that kind of precision. No rounding the cuts out. No drifting off your line. Any of that kind of stuff. That stuff matters because in the end, we do talk about it being a game of inches, and a couple inches on a throw either way can be the difference between an incredible catch and an interception.
By the way, got to give a shout out to Javonte Williams, who skied for a pass out in the flat from Russ today, took it upfield for a big gain. You're right. And in that case, that one probably could have been a little bit more on the money. But again, your receiver, in this case, a running back, needs to be able to bail you out every so often too.
Javonte's had up and down with the catches. But this was a good one. He climbed the ladder, went up and got that ball, and it was definitely thrown way over his head. Went up there and got that ball, kind of one-handed, and and brought it down for the reception. And was wide open. Nobody was covering him. I don't know what the bust was on that, but nobody was covering him. So that was certainly a fun play for him. He would have been untouched 80 yards to the house.
But you talked about how Russell Wilson has been putting these guys in position to succeed, and that is going to be fun to watch against the Cowboys, against other competition, because this is the perfect example right there of finding the mismatch, finding the opportunity. Again, Javonte Williams is going to be wide open all the time, but there are examples we've seen where he sees the matchup and he says, no, I really like this one. Cortland Sutton on a 50-50 ball, loves those matchups, getting Kendall Hinton on a quick slant, seeing Jerry Jeudy out there, beating his guy off the line. We saw, I think it was on Saturday, Isang Bassi had his hands full in the slot there against Jerry Jeudy. So that's one of the things that I'm excited to see as we get to other competition, not just the Broncos' own defense, as we get to other competition like the Cowboys coming up. That's going to be fun to see how Russell Wilson sort of manipulates things and move these guys around.
Yeah, and it's going to be a true litmus test, looking against another defense, looking against another team this week. Now, and again, once you've done this for a couple of weeks, you start to key in on the tendencies of your own guys. You don't want that. That's why these joint practices are so valuable. It breaks up the monotony, gets you a chance to kind of go against a fresh defense and get a fresh set of eyes on everything.
And the players are excited about it too. Mm-hmm. We've talked to several of them. They're all pretty amped.
They get some pent-up aggression they want to let out.
Probably a little bit of that. Yeah, probably. And it's going to be probably what? Like on Wednesday, it's going to be a little more of a walkthrough. Thursday will be like the full padded practice, that kind of thing. But again, there's so much scripting that goes on to these practices, and intentionally so, because both teams are trying to get ready for the season.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You want to tune this stuff up. You want a fresh set of eyes to see where the weaknesses are, so you're not just picking on the tendencies of your own guys.
100%. So, and then you got the preseason. Of course, we're going to be breaking it down on Broncos Country Tonight, the radio show as well. You got the preseason coming up. What's important in the first preseason game, especially knowing that you only have 3 now instead of 4? What's important in this first preseason game?
Getting a look at all the down roster guys, we talk about getting the fresh set of eyes on there, and it is that. It is looking at what you've built now and looking at it against real competition and not just the tendencies of your own guys, looking at these down roster guys, seeing who's able to come alive when the lights come on, who wilts under that kind of pressure, that kind of stuff. And, because you can have practice warriors. You can have guys that look real good in practice, and then you get out there and there's nowhere to be found in the game. So we've certainly seen that before, and hopefully they'll figure out who that is in this matchup Saturday.
All right, looking forward to it. We'll be breaking it down on Broncos Country Tonight, the radio show, weeknights on KOA from 6 to 9 p.m. or wherever you get your podcast. You can check out the podcast afterward. For Benjamin Allbright, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching Broncos Country Tonight.
Denver's gonna win it! You can stand up and salute in Denver, and you got the world champions that live in your town.